Hi guys, this is Vineet and I welcome you to this video. Today's video topic is Integration Services ETL tutorial project, and this is part 12 of this video series. If you haven't watched previous 11 parts of this video, I would highly recommend please go ahead and do so, because this part is in continuation of those 11 parts. So you need to do each and every part before coming or starting off with this part. So you need to cover each and every part starting from part 1 till part 11. Then only you can continue with this part. Guys, if you are new to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe right away. Or if you are an existing viewer and haven't yet subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do so. There's a subscribe button below this video. Click on that subscribe button. It will give you a bell icon. Click on that bell icon, select all notifications to get notifications regarding all my future and upcoming videos, including the videos that I'm creating these days on the integration services topic. We are covering a tutorial, which is a short tutorial on how to create and deploy the packages. So far we are done with the creation part of the deployment package. In today's video we will talk about how you can create the deployment bundle in SSIS. In our earlier video, which is part 11, we have tested some packages, basically the two packages. So let me give you 5 seconds. Please go ahead and subscribe right away. I'm waiting, guys. Please go ahead and do so. So guys, I hope you must have subscribed by now so we can proceed ahead. Guys, if you want to make any donations and offering to this channel, you may do that so via two ways. First one is the UPI way, or Unified Payment Interface. There's a code showing up on the right hand side of this slide. You can use any UPI app to provide your donation and offerings to us. Just scan the code with your UPI app and pay whatever you like. And the other way to make payment is to go to the topmate.io page. I have given the link on this slide. So you need to type in exact link in your browser. It will open up the donation page, and there you can make donations. Although donations are starting from rupees 100 or INR 100, but yeah, it's up to you how much you want to contribute. So please go ahead and do so. And let's come back to today's topic, which is Integration Services ETL Project Tutorial Part 12. And there are some parts to remember while watching this video. Please watch this video till the end to gain better clarity of the concept. And if it's possible for you, please watch this video twice or as many times as you like until the concept gets clear to you. Perform any exercises in your test and lab environments only. Do not touch any production environment or production databases. And we would like to know your thoughts regarding our videos, so please do share in your comments, feedbacks and suggestions. Now let's come back to today's topic and let me take you directly to notes. So today we will be covering the step 2. Earlier we were done with the step 1, which is to prepare and create a deployment bundle. And so far we have done the preparations for that. Now the next step is to create the actual deployment bundle in SSIS. So let's proceed ahead with that. So earlier we created the integration services project named deployment tutorial. We have covered all the 11 parts previously. You must remember that we have covered and created a project named tutorial. Deployment tutorial. We have added some packages and supporting files to our project and also implemented the configurations in the package. So let me quickly open up that project in Visual Studio. We had created that project in Visual Studio. Let me launch it. Now what we will do in this lesson, we will create the deployment bundle, which is basically a folder that contains the item that you need to install the packages on another computer. So basically we will create a folder that will contain all the items that is required to install packages on other computer. However, we will be using this computer only as we don't have other computer. So let's see how this can be accomplished. Now this deployment bundle will include the deployment manifest. So let me write that down for you. So first of all, let me open up the project that we are making. So meanwhile it's loading, let's write in some notes. So what we will do, we will create a deployment bundle. So once the deployment bundle is created, we will create a deployment bundle, and this is basically a folder on our drive that contains all the items needed I'm using the term this computer because I do not have other computer. All right. Now, what will this deployment bundle will include? So this deployment bundle, if we talk about, let me write that down. So this deployment bundle will include a deployment manifest. This is one of the items, deployment manifest. And the second item it includes is the copies of the package. So earlier we had created two packages. So copy of the packages it will contain, and it will also contain copies of the supporting files from the deployment tutorial project. So these are the some of the items this folder will contain. Now the deployment manifest lists the packages. So let me describe the deployment manifest. So if we talk about this deployment manifest file, which will get created, the deployment manifest lists the packages, miscellaneous files, and configurations in the deployment bundle. And we will also verify the file list in the deployment bundle. So one thing we will do, we will verify the list in the deployment bundle, and we will examine the contents of the manifest file, and we will also verify the contents of manifest file. So what's in there, we will check it out. Now the estimated time to complete this activity should be around 30 minutes, although it may take more time. Now, so what are the steps to be executed here? Let me mention those steps. So the steps would be, let me write that down. Step 1 for this activity, creating a deployment bundle in SSIS where there are various steps. So step 1 would be to build a deployment utility. Now the second step if we talk about is, the step 2 is to verifying the deployment bundle. So these are the two steps that we will perform. All right. So let's start with the step 1 of this tutorial. Step 1 and step 2. Let's start off with step 1, which is building the deployment utility. So let me cover that off here. Maybe I need to write in some notes for this step 1. Okay, let's go through step 1. So in this task, basically we will configure and build the deployment utility, right, for the deployment tutorial project. And before we can build this deployment utility, we must modify the properties of the deployment tutorial project, which is opened over here. So we will modify certain properties of this project, and we will use the deployment tutorial pages, tutorial property pages basically. And this is a dialog box to configure these properties. And in this dialog box, we must enable the ability to update configurations during the deployment, and specify that the build process generate the deployment utility. So let me write that down if you feel difficulty in remembering these points. So let me write that down for you. So basically what we will do certain tasks. We will modify the properties, and this has to be done before building the deployment utility. So we need to modify the properties of the deployment tutorial project. Right. Second thing we need to do is, for that what we will do, we will use, in order to modify the properties, we will use the deployment tutorial properties pages basically. This is a dialog box basically to configure these properties. And in this dialog box particularly, we must enable the ability to update configurations during the deployment. So what we will do in this dialog box is that, so in this dialog box, if we talk about what we will do, we will enable the ability to update the configurations during the deployment. All right, this is the first thing we will do. And we will also specify the, and we will specify that the build process generates a deployment utility. Okay, these are some of the items we will configure in the deployment tutorial properties page dialog box. And once we set the properties, we will build the project. Now, if we talk about the SQL Server data tools, it provides a set of windows that we can use for debug packages. And we can view the errors, warnings, and information messages, track about the status of packages at runtime, or view the progress and result of the build progress. And for this task particularly, we will use the output window to view the progress and result of building the deployment utility. Now let's talk about setting up the properties of the deployment tutorial project, how this can be done. So we need to open the SQL Server Data Tools, which is basically Visual Studio. We have already opened that, and we have opened the project as well. The deployment tutorial project was opened. Okay, the next step is to in the solution explorer, you need to right click the deployment tutorial and click on the properties. So right click the deployment tutorial over here, and you will see the properties page. So open the properties page. Now in the deployment tutorial properties page dialog box, we need to expand the configuration properties. So this is already expanded. On the left hand side, the configuration properties is expanded. Then we need to click on the deployment utility. So you can select the deployment option on the left hand side. So this is the property create deployment utility, right? So we need to click on the deployment option on the left hand side. And the right hand side pane of the deployment tutorial properties page dialog box, verify the allow configuration changes. So this is the property allow configuration changes. It must be set to true. So it is already set to true. All right. And there's also an option create deployment utility. This needs to be set to true so that deployment utility can be created. So I'm setting this to true. And optionally, we will also update the default value of deployment output path. So the default path is the bin deployment. I think it should be under the installation location. But let's give a specific path. So let me see if we have created some folders, or maybe I can write down some folder as an output path. All right, so let's see what folders we have on the C drive. So we had created some folders, the deployment packages. Let's create a folder named deployment bundle to output the deployment bundles. Let me create that one quickly over here. So let's create a new folder. Let's name it deployment bundles. So the folder name we are creating is deployment bundle. Let's use this folder for outputting the, I've copied the name and let's paste it there, the exact path. All right, let's click on the OK button. So we have configured two items. Let me show you that to you again. So under the deployment section over here, we have set the create deployment utility option to true, and we have specified the exact deployment output path, which will be C drive deployment bundles folder. All right, now let's move ahead. Now to build the deployment utility inside the solution explorer, we need to click the deployment tutorial, which is already clicked, and there's a view menu. In the view menu, click on the output option to get the output window. So output window is coming at the bottom over here. Let me see if I can expand it. So this is the output window. It is located in the bottom left corner of SQL Server Data Tools. It's located somewhere in the middle section, bottom. Now in the build menu, go to the build menu. There's an option called build deployment tutorial. So let's see if we have. So we have a build solution option. So we have this option, build deployment tutorial, package deployment model. So let's build that. So I've clicked on the build deployment tutorial. Now in the output window, we'll verify the following information. So output window is showing us the progress. It is showing build is started at this time. So let's look at the information in this window. There are no errors and warnings. So build has succeeded, it is saying. And build is completed at the same time. It took around 10 seconds to perform the build of this package. All right, so we see build started at this time, and it also shows like creating the deployment utility, right? It also says the deployment utility is now created, 0 error, 0 warnings. Now on the file menu, what we can do is click the exit button. And if it prompts you to save changes to a deployment tutorial project, please go ahead and do so. Save the changes by clicking on the yes button in case it asks. So yeah, deployment bundle is created now. Now it must be created in that particular folder. So we see the deployment bundle folder has all these files. This is a deployment bundle for that deployment tutorial project. Okay. Now let's move on to step 2. A deployment bundle is created. So we need to move on to step 2, which is verifying the deployment bundle. So let me go through that. So how to verify the deployment bundle? So for what we have done, we have created the deployment tutorial project and added packages and ancillary files to the project. And in the previous task, we have built a deployment utility for the project. And in this task, we will verify the contents of the deployment bundle. We will verify the contents of the deployment bundle. Okay, this is the first step we will do. And the deployment bundle is basically this folder. This folder we have specified for the deployment bundles. And we have created the deployment tutorial project under the we have built the deployment bundle for deployment tutorial project under the deployment bundles folder. Now we will verify the contents of the deployment bundle. That is the first thing. Next thing we will do, the deployment bundle is the folder that you copy to the destination computer. So ideally, if you have to perform the installation of this deployment bundle on another computer, what you should do? You should copy this out to the other computer. For now, we are using this computer, so we are not copying it out somewhere. So we don't have any destination computer. Destination computer is this computer itself. In case we have used the default value of creating deployment bundle in the bin deployment folder as the location of the deployment utility, the deployment bundle is in the bin deployment folder within the deployment tutorial folder. All right. So if we have used the default location, it must have created under this location, bin deployment. It is showing development, but it must have been showing us the deployment folder. For now, we have created the deployment bundle in the deployment bundles folder. So this is the folder we require for implementing the deployment bundle. Now let's verify the contents of the deployment bundle quickly. Now to verify the contents of the deployment bundle, we need to locate that particular folder where the deployment bundle is created. In our case, it's C drive deployment bundle. So we have certain files in there. So we have certain files, data transfer DDSX. We have a file data transfer config.dtsconfig. We have a file deployment tutorial SSIS development manifest, and this one is the manifest file we were talking about earlier. And we have file load XML data DTSX, which is a package, load XML data DTSX. And we have another package, another file, load XML data config DTSconfig. All right, and we have data transfer package as well. This is a package file, and this is the configuration file for that package, and this is another package, and this is the configuration file for this other package. And we have the required files as well, the new customers, the readme, and orders XML and order XST as well. So these are some of the files that are present. Now we need to right click on the deployment tutorial SSIS deployment manifest. So this is the manifest file that is created for the implementation of the deployment bundle. We need to right click on this file and we need to point it to open with. So select open. Don't know which software it will open with. Let me cancel that. Let's see if we can open it with Notepad. So there is an open with option. Click on that. And we need to select the Internet Explorer to open this file with. So let's open this manifest file with the Internet Explorer. All right. So the XML code is this basically. And what we need to verify in this manifest is verify that the value of the allow configuration changes, which is this. This should be set to true. All right, it is set to true. And the XML includes the package elements for each of the two packages. So we have these two packages, right? We have configuration files for these two packages and all the ancillary files that are required for these packages. And we have the package element for these two packages, and we have miscellaneous 4 files, right, under the miscellaneous file section. And we have configuration file elements, 2 elements are there, each configuration file for each of the package. Now what we can do is we can exit Internet Explorer after verifying the manifest file, and we are done with this task. Let's go back to notes. Now let's move on to the both the steps are done, so this particular step is complete, right? One second. So these are tasks actually. I've mentioned it as steps, although these are tasks. Let me write that down. Task. This was also task, and this was also a task. All right. Now we need to move to step 3. So step 3 was to install the SSIS packages. Let me copy that out and put it there. Now we'll go through the step. which is basically to install the SSIS package, and this step will involve various tasks as well. In the previous step, what we have done is we have built a deployment utility, right, and created a deployment bundle as well that contains the items that are required to install the packages on another computer. We also verified the file list in this particular folder. We have verified the file list and examined the contents of the manifest file as well that was created when we built the deployment utility. Now what we will do in this lesson is this step is what we will do. We'll copy the deployment bundle to a destination computer. That is not required in our case because we are using the same computer. We have the folder available, which is this one. We don't need to copy it out to another computer. Only in the case you want to install it on another computer, you need to copy out this complete folder over there. If you have another computer, you need to copy the bundle to destination computer and run the package installation wizard to install the packages, any package dependencies and ancillary file on the computer. So in this computer, if you want to also install the packages, what you need to do is we need to run the package installation wizard to install the packages. Apart from packages, we need to install the packages package dependencies as well. And in addition, we also require the ancillary files on this particular computer. And the packages will be installed in the MSDB SQL Server database. So if we talk about the packages will be installed in the MSDB SQL Server database. And if we talk about the other items will be installed on the file system. Okay, other items are the files. Basically, these will get installed in the file system, and packages will be installed in the MSDB SQL Server database. Now, after we complete the package installation, we will test the deployment by running the packages from the SQL Server Management Studio by using the execute package utility. So first packages will be installed, then we will execute the package. Now let's see. And the estimated time to complete this step 3 would be around 30 minutes. We'll try to cover as soon as possible. So there are certain tasks involved in the, or steps involved in the, you can say steps involved in the, there are various tasks involved in this steps. Step 3. Step 3 include various tasks. So I'm mentioning those tasks. The steps include copying the deployment bundle, which is not required in our case. This is the first step that is required in case you want to install the packages on another computer. You need to copy the deployment bundle. Now the task, if we talk about task 2, the task is to run the package installation wizard, and the task 3 is to test the deployed packages. Test the deployed packages. In our case, we can directly start off with task 2 because we don't need to perform the task 1 as we don't have another computer. In case you have another computer, you should go through task 1 as well. First task is to copy the deployment bundle. In this task, we will copy the deployment bundle to the destination computer. The easiest way to copy the deployment bundle to a destination computer is to first create a public share on the destination computer, map the drive to the public share, and then copy the deployment bundle to the share. If you don't know how to create and configure public folders on map drives, we can look out for Windows documentation on how to do that. We are not performing the task one, so I'm skipping this off. Now let's move directly to task 2, which is running the package installation wizard. Alright, so let's perform the task 2. In this task, let's talk about task 2 here directly. So in task 2, what we'll do, we will run the package installation wizard, which is also specified the name of the task as well. So we will run the package installation wizard over here, and basically we run this package installation wizard to deploy the packages from the deployment tutorial project to the instance of the SQL Server. So deploy the packages from the deployment tutorial project to an instance of SQL Server. And the only packages can be installed in the SSIS packages table in the MSDB SQL Server database. So let me specify that only packages can be installed in the SSIS packages table in the MSDB SQL Server database. We will try to use a different instance though. We can use the another instance 2 on our system to deploy these packages. So if we talk about these packages, this can be installed in the SSIS packages table in the MSDB SQL Server database. And if we talk about the supporting files, so the supporting files that the deployment bundle includes will be deployed on the file system. All right. Okay. Now we talk about the package installation wizard. It will guide you through the steps to install and configure the packages. You will install the packages to the instance of the SQL Server on the destination computer, which is this computer itself. We will install the packages on another instance though. So we will install the packages to instance of SQL Server on the destination computer, the computer to which you have copied the deployment bundle folder. We will also create a folder called deployment tutorial install in which the wizard will install the non-package files. So let's create out this folder first. On the C drive, I'm creating the folder where the package will keep the where the wizard will create the non-package files or the ancillary files. So let's create a folder, deployment tutorial install folder. All right, so this one is already there. It is saying. Let's see. We have this folder. This is empty. This is already created. Deployment tutorial install is the folder where we will be keeping all the ancillary files. Okay, we have this folder. Now in the previous step, basically we had modified the packages in the tutorials to use the configurations. Using the package installation wizard, we will add these configurations to enable packages to run successfully in the install to environment. Now let's move ahead and perform the installation of the packages. Now this is our destination computer as well. In the destination computer, we need to locate the deployment bundle, which is basically this folder, deployment bundles that we'll use. And the deployment folder, so this is the deployment bundles folder. And this folder, we need to double click on the manifest file, deployment tutorial.ssis deployment manifest. We need to double click on this file. So click on yes. So once you double click on this file, it will show you a welcome page of the package installation wizard. We need to click next on that page. Take a look at this page. Welcome to the package installation wizard. Let's click on next. And on the deploy SSIS packages page, select the SQL Server deployment option. So we are performing the SQL Server deployment. Select this option and select the validate packages after the installation. So I'm checking this option and then click on the next button. And on the specify target SQL Server page, specify local, but we don't want to use the local instance. So I need to specify the instance name as well. I've clicked on the drop down. Let me see if it shows us what all instances are in there. Right now it's taking time to show us the instances. Let me also in the meantime invoke SQL Server. Okay, so far it is only showing us the local instance of the SQL Server, but we want to place the packages in the named instance. So let's see how we can do that. We need to type that out maybe. We need to specify the machine name / the instance name. So let's see, don't want to save this file. Don't recover, and let's connect to this instance. I can copy this out. This will be our instance name. We can connect to it as well. Now let's go to the package installation wizard. You need to specify the name of the complete instance like this. And once you specify we have selected this. Okay. In the instance of SQL Server support Windows authentication, so we will be using Windows authentication in fact. Otherwise, we can use the SQL Server authentication as well, but in our case, we are using the Windows authentication. Verify that the rely on server storage for encryption checkbox is cleared. So this checkbox should be unchecked. And we need to click on the next button. We have not specified any package path yet here. Okay, we need to specify the package path as well. So there is a SSIS package folder in here. So we have integration services in there. Not showing me anything though. Okay, let's select the path as the SSIS packages path. Let's keep the default path. Let's click on next. Okay, on this screen we need to select the installation folder page, and this is the installation folder page, and we need to click on the browse, and we need to look at the deployment tutorial install folder that we had just created. So this is the folder we require to basically keep the ancillary files. And if we talk about this particular name, this is referenced in the value of the environment variables that the configuration use. The name of the folder and reference must match or the package cannot run. Now let's click on the next button. Alright, so this folder was already created, otherwise we could have created in the browse section as well by using the make a new folder button. Let's click on next. Now we are on the confirm installation page. Let's click on next over here. So when you click on the next on the previous page, the wizard installs the packages. After installation is completed, the configure packages page open. So now the configure packages page is opened. On the configure packages page, verify the configuration file box, list the data transfer dts config, and so it is listing both that out. The data transfer config.dts config and load xml data config.dts config. All right. And in the configuration file list, which is basically this, we need to click on the data transfer config.dts config, and we need to expand the property path in the path column of the configuration box and update the value of the column with the following values. So first one is this property deployment tutorial log, and earlier it was referring to a different folder deploying packages. Now we must point it to a folder, different folder, which is this one, the deployment tutorial install. So let me rename and copy this name out. So earlier we were using the deploying packages folder. Now we will change the name here. So let's replace deploying packages with deployment tutorial install, and let's change it here as well. All right, the changes are done, right? All right. Now in the configuration file list, select the other package configuration, load XML data configuration, expand the property, and there are two files in two settings are there, and these are also referring to two other files, orders XML and order XST. So let's change the path as well for this one. We will use the deployment tutorial install. All right, we have used this path. Now on the, all right, this is done. Now click on the next button after you do this. Now we are on the package validation page. On the package validation page, view the validation result of each package installed and then click next. So let's see the validation result. So for load XML data, validation has started and validation is completed. For data transfer, validation has started and validation is completed. So after you validate the result of each package installed, you can click on the next button. Because of the values of the environment variables on the destination computer differ from the values of the environment variable on the development computer, several warning error messages can appear on the package validation page, but in our case, the source and destination computer is same, so no error message has occurred. We can expect 4 warnings, and these warnings could be like the configuration file is not valid, check the configuration file name, and we may get some error messages like failed to load at least one of the configuration entries in the package, and it will ask us to check the configuration entries and previous warnings to see description of which configurations failed, and for other package it can show us the similar kind of warnings. And basically, even though we get this warning, these do not affect the package installation. And if we did not select the validate packages after the installation option on the deploy SSIS packages page, the package validation pages does not appear or open, and the wizard does not display the post installation information about validation. Now on the finish the package installation wizard page, read the installation summary, and we can go through the summary and then click on the finish button for the installation of packages. A temporary log file is also created to use the using the package validation. This file is not used when package runs. So I've clicked on finish. So let's see if the packages are installed in the integration services catalog folder. I do not see anything though. We'll check it out. So packages are installed on this new instance. Now we need to test the deployed packages, which is the task 3. So this is what we are going through now. All right. Now in this task, we will test the packages that we deploy to the instance of the SQL Server. We will test the packages that we deployed or installed to an instance of the SQL Server, which is instance 2. This is instance 2. So we will test the packages that we deploy to the instance of SQL Server. All right. Now in the integration services tutorial, we ran the packages in SQL Server Data Tools, the development environment for integration services, using the start debugging option on the debug menu. This time we will run the packages in a different way. We'll show you shortly. Now, integration services provide several tools that you can use to run the packages in the test and production environment. There's a command prompt utility as well, which is DT execute, and the execute package utility. The execute package utility is a graphical tool basically that is built on the DT exec, and both of these tools execute the package immediately. In addition, SQL Server provides a subsystem of SQL Server agent, which is specially designed to schedule package execution as a step in SQL Server agent job. Now what we will do, we will use the execute package utility. So we will use the execute package utility to execute the packages. All right. So let's see. We will use this utility to run the deployed packages, and the packages will be used as is. Therefore, we do not have to update information on any pages in the dialog box. We will run the packages from the general page, which is the first page in the execute package utility. If we like, we can click the other pages too to see the information that they contain for each package. And basically, to ensure that the packages run successfully in the context of this tutorial, we should not modify any of the options. And before we run the packages in SQL Server Management Studio by using the execute package utility, we need to ensure that integration services service is running. So let's first ensure that the integration services service is running under the services applet. Integration services. So it's SQL Server integration services basically. So this is the service that should be running for the execution of packages. That service is running, we have confirmed. Now the integration services service provides support for package storage and execution. So if we talk about this service provides support for package storage and execution. And if this service is stopped, we cannot connect to the integration services, and SQL Server Management Studio does not list the packages to run. And we must also have permissions to run the packages on the instance where the package has been deployed. That is the requirement. And the top level folders within the stored packages folder are the user defined folders that integration services monitors. We can specify as many or new folders in the msdts XML file as we want. And this tutorial assumes that you're using the default file and the names of the top level folder and within stored packages and file system and msdb. Let's proceed ahead. Now let's connect to the integration services in the SQL Server Management Studio. So let's go to SQL Server Management Studio. This is opened. Now let's disconnect it. Now open up the connect dialog box, and instead of database engine, what we need to do is we need to select the integration services over here. So we see that we only have integration services installed on this instance. So basically we need the integration services installed for other instance as well. So I need to install that up because it is showing the integration services. Database engine is on 3 instances, but if we talk about the integration services, it is installed only in the 1 instance. So guys, I've run the SQL Server installation wizard to see if I can add this feature. So go to the installation. So choose the first option, new SQL Server installation, or add features to an existing installation. So we'll be adding the features to the existing installation. Let's see if we can install the integration services over here. Alright, let's click on next. Okay, rules are run and let's click on next. Under the installation type, uh, we need to select add features to an existing installation of SQL Server, and we need to select an instance. So we will be adding the new features to the SQL Server instance too. Let's click on the next button. We are not using the Azure extension for SQL Server. Click next. On the next page, we need to perform the feature selection. So far, we have installed the database engine services over here. And we see that integration services are installed. This is for, let's see, under properties. So the shared feature is showing that integration services is installed. So integration services is a shared feature. It can be shared among the. So let's see why we are not able to connect to this instance. Let's copy this instance to select the integration services, and now it has selected the server name and the instance name as this. All right, let's try to connect to it. Okay, now the thing is, it is saying that the SSIS service does not support the multi-instance, and we need to just use the server name. Okay, let's use the server name and not the instance name. So let's click on connect. Uh, okay, let's try to run the integration services under my account. Right now, it is not showing us that it is showing to us that we don't have permissions. Let's use this account under the logon. Let's use my account instead. Check names, click OK. Let's specify the password for my account. Okay, apply. Okay. We need to restart the service because we have changed make the changes to our credentials. So let's restart it, restart the service. So this service restarted. Let me see if it can connect to the integration services instance now. So it is still showing us access denied error message. Let me look into that to see if I can resolve that. So guys, I think some administrative privileges are required. So let me try to run the SQL Server Management Studio under the administrative mode. So right click on that and run as administrator. Click on yes. And it will open the SQL Server Management Studio with administrative privileges. And after this, we'll try to log into the integration services. All right. So, all right. Let's the integration services is selected as server type, and this is the machine. We can select it from browse as well. So this is the machine. Let's try to connect to it. Now we are connected to the integration services, right? And it is showing us running packages and store packages. Okay, we are connected to the integration services in the server type list. We are connected now. Okay, now run the packages using the execute package utility. On the in the object explorer, expand the stored packages folder and expand the MSDB folder. And because you have deployed the packages to a SQL Server, all the deployed packages are stored in the MSDB SQL Server database. And all the deployed packages appear in the MSDB folder. However, it is not showing us our package. Instance name cannot be used to connect to the integration services that we have tried earlier. Let's see if we have packages under a different folder. We don't have any packages over here because we have chosen the different instance, right? However, that was not correct step, so I need to correct that step so that packages should show up here. So right now, these are not showing up under the MSDB folder section. Let me go through that step again. Let's try to locate the deployment bundle once again. So we are on the deployment bundles folder, right? And we need to double click on the manifest file. which will open up the package installation wizard. We need to install the packages on the default instance. We cannot install it on the named instance. On the welcome page of the package installation wizard, click on the next button. We need to do SQL Server deployment. So on the deploy SSIS package page, select the SQL Server deployment option, select the validate packages after the installation checkbox and click on the next button. Now we will install it on the local instance, which is the default instance of SQL Server. We cannot install it on the named instance. So we will use the Windows authentication, and it is asking us for the package path. So we can directly install it under the SSIS package folder, or we can use any subfolders as well. We have another subfolder here as well, right? Like this is the item which is showing up in that box, right? Similar to that. We can create separate folders as well. We can create a new folder. But yeah, we can also directly put the packages under the MSDB item. So let's see. Let's use the folder, that particular folder. We can use a subfolder as well. We can create a folder over here. Create a new folder. Let's name it as data transfer packages. Right. So I have created a new folder. Let's try to refresh it. So we have this folder. We can put the packages in there. So let's expand on this. So let's select this folder. We are installing packages under this folder, transfer packages, and make sure that this box is unchecked. Rely on server storage for encryption. Let's click on next. Now in the select installation folder, on this select installation folder page, click on the browse button and look at that deployment tutorial install folder on the C drive that we had created. C deployment tutorial install. Let's use this folder. All right. Let's click on next. Click on next to start the installation. On the confirm installation page, we need to click on next. The wizard will install the packages. After the installation is completed, the configure packages page open. Okay. The configure packages page is opened. On the configure packages page, verify that the configuration file box has two files. We have that, right? Select the data transfer config.dds config and see the properties showing the correct path. So let's modify the path here. The value should be deployment tutorial install. So let me take that. This should be the folder with the packages or initially file good. So let's put it here. V. So right now under the deployment, let's use this folder. Okay. Directly. Okay. The path is correct. So this is for these two files, and for the other load XML data config.dds configure these properties as well. So we are directly putting the files under the deployment tutorial install folder. Okay. Let's click on next. So validation has started and completed for both the packages. Let's click on next, view the summary. Let's click on finish. So packages must be installed here, right? So we have connected to the integration services already. And let's check it. So let's refresh this folder because packages are installed here. So now it shows the plus sign. So we have both the data transfer package and the load XML data packages installed in here. So these are under the MSDB folder. So because we have deployed the packages to the SQL Server, all the deployed packages are stored in the MSDB SQL Server database, and all deployed packages appeared under the MSDB folder. All right, so all the folders inside the MSDB folder have these packages, and after MSDB, the packages were installed in this folder. We have created a special folder, data transfer packages, and have installed the packages in there. We do not have right now. If we take a look, the file system folder is empty. unless you have deployed packages to the file system outside of the deployment tutorial. So right now we don't have any packages under the file system, therefore that's why it's empty. Now starting at the top of the package list, right click on the data transfer package and click on the run package option. So run this package. Alright, it opens up the execute package utility. And the execute package utility dialog box, just click on execute button. Don't look at the other options. If you want, you can take a look, but yeah, we are just directly executing the package. Now in the execute utility dialog box, view the progress and execution result of the package after you click on the execute button. So it shows the progress. So it is showing us the progress over here. So the progress has finished now. Alright. So let's click on the close button. Now progress is still going on, I think. Now when this stop button becomes unavailable, this basically indicates that the package has completed and we can click on close button at that time. Now if you click on the stop button while the package is running, earlier we were talking about that stop button. If you click on the stop button while the package is running, the package will not finish. Now in the execute package utility dialog box, click on the close button. Alright, and we need to repeat the same stuff for the load XML package as well. So let's run we need to select the run package option for the load XML data as well. And same dialog box has appeared. Let's click on execute to execute and finish this package. So it has some warnings. Alright, the package is finished, the installation. Okay, now what we'll do is we have executed both the packages, the data transfer and the load XML data. Now what we'll do, we will verify the results of the data transfer package. Now on the toolbar in the SQL Server Management Studio, click on new query and let's connect to the database engine. Let's connect to the database engine over here. I've used the local instance of SQL Server. Now let's try to use the AdventureWorks 2022 database, right? So we can also use the use statement to connect to that database. Now let's select the data from high income customers. So let's do select star from high income customers. All right. Now this is basically we are validating that the associated tables are created. So high income customer is one of the tables that are required to be created by the execution of that package. So let's execute this statement. It will return us the 31 rows. So 31 rows are returned. The return result contains any rows from the text file customers text that have values larger than 100,000 in the yearly income column. Okay, and basically we have verified the result of the data transfer package, which basically creates the high income customers. Even if we drop the table and we execute the package again, it will again create that table. So let's try to drop the table high income customers. Let's copy it and paste it and try to drop the table. So table is dropped, and if we execute the statement, the table does not exist. Now we can execute this package again. So run the package, it will create the associated table. So running the package data transfer, and let's just execute the package. So package is executed. Let's click on close and click on close again. So after this package is executed, this table must exist now. So we can do a select start from in order to validate that the package has run successfully. It must have created this table. All right. So it has created the table, right? And this resulted in 31 rows of data. And this data is basically from the customers.txt file, new customers.txt file basically, that have values larger than 100,000 in the yearly income column. All right, now let's try to verify the result of the load XML data package. Let's close this. Don't want to save it. So we had executed this package as well. Now in the toolbar, we need to click on the new query. And in the connect to servers dialog box, select the database engine which is already selected. In the server list, provide the name of the server in which you installed the tutorial packages or enter local. So this is the server. Let's click on connect. Now we need to run the following statement. Select star from. So this package basically creates the table order dates by country region. So we need to select the appropriate database. So AdventureWorks 2022 need to be selected, and we need to select a table order dates by country region. This table is created by the load XML data package. So it contains the 21 rows as a result. So when we execute this query after selecting the AdventureWorks 2022 database, we have executed the query. The query resulted in 21 rows of data. And this result consists of the rows from the XML data file, which is the order XML. So these 21 rows are from order XML file. And each row is a summary by country region. And the role is the name of the country region. All right. And the dates of the newest and the oldest orders from that particular region. Now let's try to drop this table. Let's do a drop table statement, drop this table, and we will execute the package again so that table can get recreated. So I've dropped the table. Now if I try to select the result from this table, I will get the error message. Now let's try to execute this package again. So click on the run package, and it will open up the execute package utility dialog box. Click on execute. The package is getting executed, although we are getting some warnings over here. But the package is executed. Let's click on the close button, close this. And now if we try to select data from this table, we should get the 21 rows of data, which means that package has executed successfully. All right, guys, I think we are done with this task. Let's go back to notes. So we are done with the testing of deployed packages. Although we have used the same instance here, not the other instance that we had installed. The SQL Server 2022 instance 2, we have not used that. We have just used the local instance because integration services can only accommodate one instance. We cannot install the packages on the named instance. All right, so we are done with task 3 as well. Task 2 and task 1 are done. We have installed the SSIS package, so step 3 is also done. And by this, we have come to the end of this tutorial. We have installed the packages. We have tested the deployed packages, right? So we are fine. We are done with the integration services tutorial, and this is the last part of this tutorial series, right? And after this part, there will not be any more parts on ETL project tutorial. This was the last part, which is part 12. And after this part, we will start on the regular, usual day-to-day stuff, which is we will cover the other items in the integration services. This was just we were working on our ETL project tutorial, and this tutorial is spanning 12 parts, and this tutorial is now done. Now in our next video, what we will cover is we will cover the usual integration services stuff apart from tutorial. So stay in tune. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do so. Click on the subscribe button below this video. Once you click on the subscribe button, you will get the bell icon. Click on that bell icon, select all notifications to get notifications regarding my future and upcoming videos, and also the videos that I'm creating on integration services section these days. And guys, if you want to donate or provide your offerings to us, you can do so via two options. One is the UPI method, where you can scan in the UPI code given on the right hand side using any of your UPI apps to make any donations. And the second option is to go to the topmate.io page. The link is given on this slide. You need to open this, type in this link completely and open this on the Google Chrome or any other browser you have. And once this page is open, you can purchase the donation offerings that you can provide to us. Thank you so much, and we are done. And do post in your comments, guys, your feedbacks and your suggestions as well. Thank you so much for your time on this video today, and you have a wonderful day ahead.